Buenos días, clases. Hoy es lunes, today is Monday, y hoy es el 5 de octubre. Ya estamos en octubre. Nuestros objetivos para hoy, our objectives today is I can give both affirmative and negative commands in the target language, like we talked about on our last block day of this past week. And you can find those notes on lesson 11 if you would like, and I'll pull them up here in a second. Our second objective is I can use city vocabulary to talk about directions, okay? So, un anuncio, tenemos una prueba del vocabulario el primer día esta semana, first day this week, y ustedes pueden encontrar las palabras del vocabulario aquí, ¿sí? Ustedes pueden hacer clic aquí y ustedes van a encontrar la lista de la ciudad. Here's your list that I'm going to pull from. A lot of these are cognates, but again, you can look at that list by logging into your Quizlet, and it should be pulled up. And it should say quiz 10.6, 10.7. Now, the second thing that you're going to do is that you're going to be watching, obviously you're watching this instructional video, so I thank you for watching this first if you have. Then the quizzes, there's a couple important things. We've done quizzes before, but it's a little bit different this time. Again, like last time, I do want you to put your first full name and last name in order that I can find you. Otherwise, it's really hard to find you and get your grade in. La segunda cosa, the second thing, is that it's actually broken up by period. So find your period, click on the link, and it should take you to it after you log in. Now, a couple things that I want to give you reminders are you have to look at it and see if it's an affirmative or a negative command. Remember, the biggest difference that you're going to have, and I'll add it right here, is that there's going to be yet a no before the verb if it is negative. So if you're looking at your quizzes practice, and if it has a no in the sentence, then you need to make sure that you put it in the negative command form. That means you put it in the yo form of the present tense, you take off the o, and then you add the opposite ending. So AR verbs, we're going to get an ES. ER and IR verbs, we're going to get an AS. So, and remember, you can pull up your notes that we took on Thursday, Friday as a reference. Okay, so a couple of examples here. Tener goes to tengo, yo form, take off the o, we have teng. Now, because it's an ER verb, as we see right there, we're going to do the opposite ending and then add an S. So we have AS, tengas. And then we put the no in front, no tengas. Okay, if I'm going to say, well, don't have a good day, no tengas un buen día, which is a little bit of an odd command, but you could say it, I suppose. So, and we follow that same concept with stem changers. If a word stem changes in the yo form, like pienso, itai, then you're going to hold that stem change all the way through. So we have pensar as an AR verb. So opposite ending is going to be ES, and then we add a no in front of it, no pienses, okay? And these are our irregulars, which are kind of important. No seas, no sepas, no estés, no vayas, no des. Remember that you're going to put your object pronouns, like me, lo, la, los, like don't grab them, don't eat them, don't run it, stuff like that. Those are actually going to go in between the no and the verb, and you can see some examples here. So those are just a few reminders. And lastly, on your quizzes, you will see a couple of the cargar-zar verbs. So, for example, if it's sacar, it's going to be no saques. If it's going to be jugar, no juegues. Both the stem change here, and then the G to GU change. Lastly, we have our zar, which is a Z to a C. So no empieces, don't start. Now, those are just a few things. And obviously, we've done a really good job at our affirmative commands. At the top of our negative command intro, we have just a little review. Remember, we have our affirmative. Remember, our affirmative means positive, telling them to do something. You're going to put in the he, she form. Baila, corre, habla, escribe, camina. So, in your quizzes, if it asks you to change something into a command, if there's not a no in it or it doesn't say negative form, then you can assume that it's the affirmative, okay? We have all of our irregulars listed here. So I know that you have your notes. Feel free to use those, and you can use your notes as a reference. I'll be taking your first practice as the grade, so you only get a chance to do it once. I'll take the first one and look at the timestamp on it to see which one was first, and that'll go in the grade book. So again, this is for a practice grade, so that you'll get an accuracy grade, but it'll go into that 20% category. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But this is due before the end of the day on Wednesday. It's due at 11:45 on Wednesday night. Okay, chicos, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. But we're going to continue with our objectives with city vocabulary in both affirmative and negative to commands. Gracias, nos vemos mañana.